Hi again, everyone. I'm olliemathews. This is Societal Narcissism. This video is sponsored by contribution from Corey. Corey gave general contribution, which I am going to use for this video. Charlene actually just brought this to my attention, and I didn't see it. I was going to start off in the queue, but I figured since this has been brought to my attention, I will start off with this. As anybody who's followed my channel for any significant amount of time knows, in a past life, I was director of security with Macy's in Herald Square for several locations. But my claim to fame is I was 5 years it's director of security, one of the five directors in the Herald Square location, the flagship, from 98 to 04 or 99 to 04, 03, something like that. It's been a while, but I was there. And anybody who doesn't believe me, there's my old ID, even with my old government name, Herald Square. Security's from Jersey City, security director. I am, for the new people, I am who I say I am. I worked for Macy's for 14 years. So when I talk about these issues, I know what I'm talking about. What issue are you talking about, Ollie? What issue are you talking about? Why don't you tell me? Okay, I will. Let's just get into it, shall we? Diddy hit with shocking claims of rape, assault, including New York City Macy's, and death threats in new wave of lawsuits. Accused sex trafficking rapper Sean Diddy Combs was hit with a fresh wave of exploitive sexual assault lawsuits Monday by 6 people, including 4 men, one of whom was 16 when allegedly attacked. The new cases, all filed by anonymous plaintiffs in Manhattan federal court, describe the alleged brutal sex attacks by the 54-year-old embattled music mogul between 1995 and 2001. One man says in his suit that he was just 16 when he attended Combs' in 2008 white party in the Hamptons, along with countless celebrities and A-listers. The teen bumped into Combs and told him he was a fan and wanted to become a star, with Combs responding that the boy had the potential and the look, boasting that he could make anyone, including the plaintiff, into a star, the filing claims. The pair ended up in a secluded spot near some portable toilets, where Combs abruptly told the teen to drop his pants, assuring him it was a rite of passage and the route to becoming a star, the suit claims. Do you want to break into the business? Combs asked the boy, according to the filing. The scared teen acquiesced to Combs' sick request, and the rapper grabbed the young man's genitals, feeling them before letting it go, and telling him his people would be in touch. The interaction continues to humiliate and cause shame to the man, court papers say. He was afraid to say what happened to him because of Combs' power and notoriety, the filing says. In another suit, a man was working as, now this is the part that I'm interested in. In another suit, a man was working as an advisor for clothing brand Echo Clothing when he ran into Combs and his 3 bodyguards inside a stockroom inside a flagship store in Manhattan of Macy's in 2008, according to his suit. Okay, stop. Now, in 2008, I was in the downtown Brooklyn store. The regional vice president at the time was the same regional vice president I had worked for and had been my godfather and in the company. I had worked with him since the 90s in Jersey. Okay. I know all the people who were in charge of security at the time. Echo is a urban brand. It's an urban retailer. It's a urban. I say urban. That is a category within retail, which designates it as a designer, a high-end designer that gets extra security. Okay. Bodyguards and Sean Combs, okay, do not have access to our stock rooms to just be walking around willy-nilly, alone, unsupervised in our stock rooms. Wouldn't happen, doesn't happen. They don't have keys to our stock rooms. Or I'm saying our, like I still work there, which I don't, but that's a habit. They don't. There are so many steps that you have to go through as a vendor to be given access to the selling floor. There is 0.0 chance Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, is showing up on the urban floor, okay, and nobody knows he's there. How do I know that? Because he did it a couple times in the early 90s when the brand first started hitting, when the brand first hit. They notify us. The one day he showed up unannounced, we were on top of him in 20 seconds because it's Sean Combs. It ain't happening. And he certainly wasn't being given access to stock rooms unsupervised, him or his bodyguards. Not how it works. Not how it works. Now, do I believe Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, is an absolute child predator, the Black Epstein? 100%. But what you can't have when going after these pedos and these predators is to have fake stories come in. Things that are going to end up being disproven down the road, and then it destroys the legitimate cases. No way this could have happened. No way. Combs was running a competing clothing brand, Sean John, at the time, the suit says, which is why he would come to look at his selling floor, to look at it. But he never said anything. And here's the thing, like, I talked to him a few times. It is clear he wasn't making any business decisions. None of these guys were, whether it would be Rockaware or Fubu or any of these guys who had hip hop stars run. They're not running it. They're not running it. They're a figurehead. And I remember the guy would just stand there with this dead look in his eyes, this absolute nothing going. And the other thing that has me, like, he was tiny. Back then, he was tiny. Like, I'm 5'8". Back then, I was 5'8", 155, 160 pounds. And I remember feeling like I towered over this guy. Now, you look on Wikipedia, or you look at it, it says he's 5'10", and he's all. I'm looking at this guy now. Either you're a body double or it was a body double coming in the Macy's, because the guy I was dealing with at Macy's as Sean John was a skinny little nothing who I was physically imposing over, and I'm not a big guy. And we had major problems with all of those urban brands. The shortage was between 20 and sometimes 60, 70%. You'd go through the inventory and an entire category, like say a shirt, like say this shirt I'm wearing. This shirt comes in, like, they ordered for Herald Square 40 of these shirts, okay, in small, medium, large, extra large, in each color. So you're dealing, and you'd have the entire category missing. Entire categories missing, just missing. Stuff that just couldn't have shown, didn't show up. It's impossible to steal every single item, and stuff never showed up on the floor because these people were incompetent, who were running, and they didn't know how to run an inventory. They didn't know how to get merchandise out. They didn't know how to do inventory check. None of it. None of it. There were so, because the shortage was so high in men's urban, which was on the balcony, floor 1.5, the mezzanine section. That entire floor in the stock rooms are on lockdown. They had been on lockdown since like 1999. When me and the vice president who brought me there and our team got there and took that building over. That building that used to in the 90s was running $28 million per year in shortage. One building, we got it down to something like 12 million. And now it's back up that way again. The victim was hit in the head, possibly with a pistol, and knocked onto his hands and knees as the group made threats such as "I'll kill you," court papers allege. Combs hissed to the victim, "Suck my D, Echo," the suit alleges. The only reason that almost seems believable, because this is what these morons would do back in the 90s. They'd have things called street teams. So P. Diddy would go steal would have his street team go steal all the Rockaware merchandise, and then the Rockaware street team, which was that JC? Can't remember. It was Master P, whoever's doing, and then would steal their stuff, and everybody would steal FUBU because fuck them, and they sell outs, and like this is what they were doing to each other. And we had to bring some kind of order to all of this. So I understand where that line is coming from, because there is, even with the vendors, this hostility between lines. And I'm telling you, there is no way there are 3 bodyguards walking around with P. Diddy unattended. With no escorts, with no Macy's personnel around them. Would not even have to be security. There would at least have to be the friggin' sales lead. Not happening. If you think Sean Puffy Combs could walk around the urban mezzanine where that stockroom is without having a fucking crowd of people on top of him, you're delusional. It's not happening. Not happening. And I know this guy is a monster. That's why it kills me to do this. And you know how I feel about Macy's, how they fucked up everything, and for me to have to come and defend them. But no, I'm gonna defend the guy who had my back, because I know there is 0% chance this happened. 0. The rap mogul then brutally orally R-word him for 2 minutes while grabbing his hair and saying, "You like that, white boy? The suit charges." Afterward, the Bad Boy Records founder threatened, "Shut up or I'll kill you," the filing claims. Combs then headed to the storeroom floor where he passed out merchandise to an adoring crowd as if nothing happened. No. He can't just go to the floor. No, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. It's so ridiculous. Sean Combs walking out, handing out his own merchandise. We own that merch. He doesn't own that merchandise. We own that merchandise. And I'm still saying we like I work there. It's not his merchandise. It's our merchandise. We bought it from him. He can't just go and start handing out merchandise. And if he were, there would have been purchase, there would have been security and sales and management around him to control the... here's Puff Daddy just showing up in Herald Square, throwing out hoodies to the poors. I mean, Jesus Christmas. The man reported the incident to Macy's security, but no one ever followed up with him, and he was barred from the Herald Square location in the future. His suit says what probably happened is because there are strict vendor policies. How do I know that? Because I wrote them. Don't do Biden. I'm sorry. Because I wrote them. I wrote the vendor. Yes, me. I wrote the vendor policy that was in effect in 2008 in Herald Square and then eventually rolled out company-wide. Long before that, for this incident happened. It's absurd. It's an absurdity that you think Sean Combs could go to, and they print this shit, and they print this in the New York Post. I get it. I can't stand the guy. I know he's the Black Epstein. I know he's hurt people for real. This shit didn't happen. It just didn't. Just didn't. It's impossible. Logistically, it is impossible for what this guy, I'm telling you, this vendor got in trouble. He violated some rule. He did something stupid, and then he might have come up with this story on the spot, which would make no sense. Which is why because we would bar vendors like it was nothing. We trespass, like a vendor screwed up once. You couldn't work in 2000 past 9/11, because 9/11 just changed everything. Because I wrote that policy maybe 2002, 2003. So after 2003, there was not a vendor working in that building, because it started in Herald Square and now company-wide. There wasn't a vendor working in that building that didn't sign the vendor agreement policy that I wrote, understanding that they could be bounced at a moment's notice. There is no way Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, is walking unattended with 3 bodyguards anywhere in Herald Square, let alone on the urban mezzanine. Zero. Impossible. And he's just going to suddenly assault somebody. Do you know how many people he just... It's laughable. But this is going to hurt real victims. That's why I'm so mad about it. 3 weeks later, Macy CEO Terry Lundgren, empty suit, you all know where I am with him, pressured Echo executives to fire plaintiff because Macy's had just signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Sean John. The suit says the CEO doesn't need to fire the Echo executive of Macy's. We just ban him from our buildings. What is the point of he's not getting involved in this. Macy's had already had a multi-million-dollar. God. Excuse me. We had been selling Sean John since the late 90s. We're one of the first retailers. There was never a time that we weren't carrying Sean John. Or was there ever a time where it was even thought that Sean John wouldn't be sold at Macy's? It's absurd. It's absurd. Echo did eventually file the man, and he was kicked out of the apartment the company paid for. The filing says, he must have been. They were paying for his apartment. To this day, the man still fears for his life, the suit claims. One woman says in her suit, she was a 19-year-old college freshman in Brooklyn when she was invited to a photo shoot in 2004 promoting the band group that Combs' label had signed. The then teen attended the event with a female friend, also a freshman, and the pair was later invited by Combs to his hotel for a more exclusive party, the court papers claim. Once Combs' hotel suite, the college students were whisked to another room by a security guard who locked them in before saying, "You know what you're here for," the filing says. Combs soon came into the room pushing drinks and cocaine on the women before ordering the pal to perform oral sex. Or he would have them both, you know what, blah, blah, blah. I believe all this. And goes on, I'm concerned about the Macy's part. So The rest of this doesn't concern me. I mean, it does on some level. I mean, you want to see a scumbag like that. You want to see a scumbag like that face justice. You really do. There is no way. There's no way. There are cameras. There are cameras everywhere on that selling floor. There are cameras in the stock rooms. They're recorded by multiple DVRs. Do you know how many people would have to? It's like the OJ conspiracy. Do you know how many people would have to be involved for how long to cover something like that up? And nobody talked. Nobody talked since 2008. Come on. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. Not at Macy's. It's not possible. And when I tell you that, I can tell you that firsthand. Because I know that selling floor like the back of my hand. I know how it was operating in 2008. I know the people who were in charge of security in 2008 and who was running what and how it would have been handled and how the complaint would have been handled. Okay, it wouldn't have been any of this. Man, those vendors, it doesn't surprise me that the vendor was getting an apartment paid. It was unbelievable what some of those retail, those clothing line specialists who work directly for the clothing line make, and some of their perks, cars and trips and all that. So that's believable. Unbelievable. So that's my spiel there. Anybody wants to question me, anybody comes across this video who has any questions, wants some verification, wants to talk more about how all this worked or how it went down, or even my direct interactions with Diddy at the time, my links are in the description box. I'm easily available, and I'm easy to contact. Surprised, why didn't the Post or anybody reach out to anybody working in, I mean, I'm not saying reach out to me. Okay, there's people above my pay grade that they could get to if they wanted to know. All right, this is a pile-on. I understand they want this guy. But printing obvious BS isn't the way to do it. It isn't. And I have no horse in the game. Like, I've been gone from Macy's now since 2010. I have been out of the company almost as long as I was in it. So I have nothing. I have nothing to gain by protecting them. I wasn't in the store at the time. It's not like I'm protecting myself. Do better, media. Do freaking better. All right. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you to Corey for the contribution. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions in the comments section below. And if you want to get your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful. Because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with either the Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, and email links in the description box below. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Be sure to follow me to subscribe to both my channels on Rumble. Follow me on Twitter and Telegram as well. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Societal Narcissism. Take care, everybody.